The full moon in Cancer on Monday, January 13th looks emotional, intense, and inflammatory. It conjoins Mars, encouraging us to express our feelings, address disagreements, and connect with our hearts. Let's take a closer look and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a loyal audience member. And if you're new, welcome. If you want to show your support, please leave me a like, a comment, subscribe, and press the notification bell. Watch more of my content or press that thank you button to get me a tea, a coffee, a present, a croissant. All of that is appreciated. Before we dive in, a couple of announcements. If you want to work with me, there are a few ways to do it. You can book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. You can pick up a natal, more general reading, a relationship consultation, or predictive year ahead readings. You can currently save until the end of January on the year ahead readings, $20 with the coupon code 20 letters, 25 numbers. Or you can pick up a recorded reading and save $40. Information is in the description. Additionally, if you want your full long, detailed year ahead horoscope for your rising sign, you can pick up a recording of the webinar Rox and I did on January 29th. It is on my website as well. Link is in the description. And you can pick up products I create. I am a big fan of my 2025 astrology planner. It is the second edition of the astrology planner I created. The first one is 2024. It is full of information that can help you learn about astrology, understand yourself better, help you set intentions, prepare for the new and full moons. It has calendars with important transits, breaking down the positive, the negative, the more challenging ones. Really powerful tool, useful for anyone who loves astrology and want to use astrology in a proactive way. Speaking of using astrology in a proactive way, I capture transits that are highly benevolent and supportive. And in this video, I'd like to highlight my almond moon candle. It is the biggest one, size-wise. I created, for example, this is my exalted, this is the regular sized candle. Almond moon captures the moon in Cancer, moon in the sign of rulership, very nurturing, very fertile, very good at manifesting. So if you're seeking more joy, pleasure, abundance, if you want to boost your fertility, if you want to create more ease and harmony in your life, almond moon is a great choice. You can also pick up my moon in Cancer oils. Those candles are sold out because this is just such a good supportive energy. With moon in Cancer, you know, people just get them pretty fast. So this is the moon in Cancer I still have, almond moon or moon in Cancer oils. All of that is at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you listening to my announcements because, you know, this is my calling, what I like to do, and I want to bring it your way as well as, you know, all the other things. Anyways, let's talk about the full moon in Cancer. It's happening on Monday, January 13th at 5:26 p.m. Eastern, so adjust for your time zone, at 23 degrees 59 minutes Cancer. So you can say it's basically at 24 degrees Cancer. You are likely to feel it the most if you have planets or angles like your ascendant, descendant, midheaven, IC between 21 and 27 degrees cardinal signs, which are of course Cancer, Capricorn, but also Aries and Libra. Those are going to feel it very strongly. I like the moon in Cancer. It is the moon in its home sign. She's responding to herself only, so there is a sense of strong emotional awareness, strong need for comfort and security, strong need for peace as well. However, there is a little bit of tension with this full moon as the full moon conjoins Mars, currently retrograde. So with Mars being retrograde and the full moon happening in the sign of Cancer, we are feeling a lot of feelings. There is a lot of sort of build up and things that maybe we haven't expressed, things we haven't addressed in our relationships, but also collectively and socially. Cancer brings up themes of women, motherhood, elderly, weak, and vulnerable. And so on a personal level, if you're feeling somehow not nurtured enough, if you're feeling neglected, you may feel a pull to express it and then transform something in your life. If it is about, your parents or your home, there might be also changes there. Maybe a need to set better boundaries, maybe a need to have difficult conversations. You gotta think of the full moon as always an opposition between the sun and moon. So we're dealing with the duality and the polarity. The sun is in productive, serious Capricorn, while the moon is in the emotional and nurturing and sensitive Cancer. So when we get the full moon in Cancer in the middle of Capricorn season, we're very much encouraged to remember that we cannot just go, work. We also need to tend to our hearts. And I think with that Mars conjunction, there's an element of urgency to it. Like, you have to do things now. And if something is not right, Mars can bring that blade of a warrior where you cut things off, cut a relationship off, cut a toxic situation off, or you will transform something. The positive aspect that is happening right around the same time is the sun sextile to Uranus. The sun trine Uranus, actually, which means the moon will sextile Uranus. And let me just look up the exact timing of these. So the full moon happens at 5:26. The sun trines Uranus at 3:13 a.m. Eastern on that same day, January 13th. So the sun is trining Uranus, which means the moon is sextiling Uranus. So this supportive aspect to Uranus brings an open-minded attitude, brings ability to transcend, to innovate, to break through the limitations and restrictions. So if you are feeling like something has been building up, that maybe your feelings are being neglected, that you're not getting nurtured enough, if you are honest and you're direct and you're open to be vulnerable, you can actually move through the frustration in a quite constructive way. There's also a trine to Neptune from the moon in Cancer, trine to Neptune in Pisces, which does suggest a certain compassion and empathy and sensitivity, both to your own feelings and to the feelings of people in your life. I guess it means that you're able to navigate the irritating conjunction to Mars with more compassion and perhaps patience. And I quite like the fact that even though the moon is not trining Venus exactly by degree, but at the time of the full moon, the Venus is in Pisces, which is definitely very supportive. Yeah, having Venus in Pisces, and they're about 14 degrees apart or 13 degrees apart, but Venus in Pisces is definitely protecting and supporting us and giving us a sense of compassion and understanding. So take a look back at July 5th, when we had a new moon in Cancer. The full moon in the sign of Cancer will have a flashback to that. Perhaps you were starting a new project that was connected to your passion, right? Like maybe you were starting a passion project. Maybe you were making changes to your living situation or starting to think about making changes. Maybe you were expanding your family or dealing with some kind of family situation. The full moon in Cancer may bring up, again, all of those questions around family, home, your living space, vulnerable, weak people, women, children. It can also bring up questions around family karma and perhaps urge you to once again release the outdated patterns and outdated beliefs that are holding you back. So let's take a look at the 12 rising signs and break it down for all the signs. I recommend listening to your rising sign because that tends to be the most accurate one. You're welcome to listen to your sun or moon as well. And if you'd like a more personal take on this full moon, or you want to know what else is coming up for you, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and pick up my 2025 horoscope breakdown I did with Rox to get a 15 to 20 minute long reading for your sign describing all of the main events of 2025. All of that is on my website and links are down below. So let's start with the lovely Aries rising. Aries rising is getting a full moon in your 4th house. Take a look back at July 2024 to see what kind of matters were happening in terms of your living space, where you may be starting to rebuild, renovate, redecorate, redesign. Maybe there were new beginnings in the family, with parents moving in with you or a family member moving out. Maybe you were becoming more aware of what needs to change in your family dynamic, because the full moon definitely brings up spotlight on your living environment, and it may suggest that it's time for you to change something. Maybe you're moving, maybe you are buying a home, maybe you're selling a home. There may be changes in the family dynamics. If somebody moved in with you back in July, a family member might be moving out around this time. 4th house will absolutely bring up matters involving the past and your childhood, and any wounds that you haven't healed, any emotions that you haven't processed. You may notice that you're feeling more nostalgic, more melancholic. With the moon conjoining Mars, and Mars being your chart ruler and also the ruler of the 8th house, there might be some pressures and fears involving money, involving death in the family or inheritance matters that you're dealing with, that you're trying to kind of navigate some kind of tensions. Maybe certain debts involving mortgage. Maybe it could be a good time with this full moon to think about refinancing your mortgage or changing your living situation. I do like the sextile to Uranus in the 2nd. So there might be resources available to you to make the changes necessary, or opportunities to perhaps improve your finances and bring a more stable, secure sense in your life that maybe starts with money and then continues through improving your living situation, feeling more at ease at home. Do share how this resonates. Do you remember what was happening in your home family life in July? I'd be curious to know how all of this is playing out and coming back around. For some, it could also be related to maybe a custody battle that you're going through, or certain debts that are affecting your peace of mind that you need to pay off, or even a sense of needing to connect more with who you were when you were a kid and what you desired to do and what made you happy, so that you can be more truthful to yourself. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Take advantage of my year ahead special. Until the end of January, you can save $20 on the in-person consultation or $40 on the recorded reading. Information is in the description. If you are a Taurus rising, there's a full moon in your 3rd house, and it completes the chapter started in July 2024 when we had a new moon in Cancer in your 3rd house. So here you're looking at, do reflect back on July and, type it down in the comments below if you remember what was happening. But this feels like maybe in July you started some kind of passion project. 3rd house represents education, skills, hobbies. It represents communication, blogging. So if you've been working on some kind of passion projects or learning about something, the full moon might be the time when you finish the project, present it to the world, or you take an exam to complete the course of study. Because Mars is here, there's a sense that maybe it's time for you to look at your schedule and look at conversations and relationships with siblings and neighbors, and ask yourself what is inflaming here, what is aggravating here, what is unnecessary, what needs to be released. The full moon conjunct Mars can definitely bring up some tough conversations with siblings and a sense of needing to move past a conflict or some kind of an issue. With the 3rd house being the house of your commute as well and your immediate environment, there might be a need to change, like I said, sort of logistical matters, declutter your schedule or upgrade your car. Maybe your car falls apart or something happens in terms of your everyday life and the tools you use that you need to rethink. There might be a strong sense of needing to deliver a message. Mars rules your 7th house of partnerships and 12th house of spirituality, mental health, imagination, healing. So the full moon in the 3rd also makes me wonder what kind of skills you have that you can bring to a partnership or you can bring to your business to maybe heal and guide people. So opportunities to transform your business, to speak up, to address a difficult topic, to rethink a relationship with a sibling, or maybe even a different family member. If there is, maybe it's your partner's sibling that is being too nosy or too involved in terms of how you're raising your child, and you're needing to have some conversations and sort of step into the mama bear mode where you protect your cub. I like that the full moon sextiles Uranus in the 1st house. It is supportive of you connecting with your independence, expressing your talents, shining, and acting in a freeing type of way. If you're looking for more guidance, pick up a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Until the end of January, you can save $20 on the in-person consultation for the year ahead, or $40 on the recorded year ahead readings. Information is in the description. For the lovely Gemini rising, there is a full moon in the 2nd house of money and values. And take a look back at July 2024 when we had a new moon in your house of money and values. If you made an investment, or you started saving for something, or you started working towards a promotion, the full moon in the 2nd house could be the time you pay off a debt, you make an investment, or you get a promotion. There might be important shifts around money. Money coming, money going. Definitely let me know what you remember happening in July, because this could be important for what's going to come up for you around the full moon. It is also interesting because it feels like you're maybe rethinking your priorities and rethinking your goals, and perhaps prioritizing spending more time with family over working a lot, right? And maybe you're making changes to your professional life based on that. The full moon conjoins Mars, the ruler of your 6th house of everyday work, and 11th house of hopes and dreams, friendships and networks. And so I could also see this as a transformation in your finances and values that involves your changing goals, because Mars rules your 11th house. And as Mars is retrograding, you're maybe feeling a longing for a new passion, a new pursuit, but you haven't fully formed it in your head yet. But there might be, Cancer is all about heart, and in the 2nd house, and you're going to have Jupiter coming here in June 2025. So it's a very much clear chance to comb through your spendings, let go of any money that is going out that you want to keep, and ask yourself what is worth investing. There is a sextile to Uranus in the 12th house with this full moon. So what you feel like worth investing into could be your mental health, could be a move to a different place, could be a spiritual passion, and a calling that perhaps allows you to heal and empower other people. For more guidance, check out anastasiadoesastrology.com. Until the end of January, you can save $20 on the in-person year ahead reading, or $40 on the recorded one. Information and links are in the description. For the beautiful Cancer rising, there's a full moon in your 1st house. You are completing a chapter started in July 2024 with a new moon in Cancer, and bringing attention to your needs, to your feelings, to your irritations potentially. The full moon does conjoin Mars, the ruler of your 5th and 10th houses, the ruler of your house of pleasure, children, romance, parenthood, and the ruler of the 10th house of career, status, and reputation. And so you're maybe addressing tensions in your love life and having to speak up about it. Maybe you're making changes to your child's life, putting them in a different school, for example. Or asking what is truly joyful to you professionally, right? If we put the 5th and the 10th houses together. The full moon in the 1st could be about your health. There could be perhaps an opportunity to release a bad habit or to commit to a new workout routine. Maybe start exercising more regularly, start eating healthier. You're maybe completing a personal project. If you've been studying something, now you present your work, you film your movie, or you commit to some kind of passion, right? There's maybe a skill that you started to dabble in. Maybe you started painting back in July, and now with the full moon in the 1st, you sign up for a class to paint, or you put your painting on sale. There might be some type of like important personal culmination. But it also feels like with Mars retrograde here, right? And maybe you feeling more irritated, dealing with more annoyances. How can you tend for yourself better? How can you put yourself first? How can you fill your cup before you start giving your energy to others? There's a sextile to Uranus in the 11th coming from this full moon, which could be suggestive that your friends can be a source of joy around this time, that maybe the projects you're working on are leading to stronger connection with your community, to better, more fulfillment, new dreams, and exciting opportunities. Please share how this resonates. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Until the end of January, you can save on my year ahead readings, 20 on the in-person consultation or 40 on the recorded one. So get it while it's still here. If you are a Leo rising, there's a full moon in Cancer in your 12th house, and you're diving headfirst into your psyche, into your blind spots, into your hidden passions and callings. Reflect back on July 2024 to see what the new moon in Cancer brought up for you. It could have made you aware of a bad habit. It could have made you more aware about where you sabotage yourself, where you second guess yourself. And so the full moon here could be the opportunity to commit to taking better care of yourself, to release self-defeating tendencies, to address the past, to heal an old wound. Maybe you're thinking here about your childhood and how you're still holding on to some pain from the past, and maybe it's time to process it and let it go. There might be professional matters that you're addressing. There might be a sense of wanting to get away as well. Maybe if you've been feeling overwhelmed, you're becoming more aware of needing to change things. The full moon does conjoin Mars, which brings up difficult conversations, certain irritations, maybe a need to express anger that's been boiling underneath, below the surface, that you haven't quite expressed. And Mars also rules your 4th house of home and family and your 9th house of education, travel, writing, publishing, legal matters. So very healing, especially with Mars ruling the 4th. I think very, very much about looking at the past, releasing old things, committing to better mental health, better self-care. And with the full moon in the 12th, conjunct Mars ruling the 9th, I wonder if you're also taking your stories and presenting them and maybe writing about your past and processing it through writing. Or maybe you're looking to go to an ashram or a yoga retreat and maybe thinking of getting away to work on your mental health somehow. It could also be a professionally rewarding time, especially if you've been working on a project behind the scenes, if you've been working on some kind of imagination, creative book or novel or painting, because the full moon does sextile Uranus in the 10th house. So either getting more in touch with yourself, releasing self-defeating tendencies makes you more happy with where you are, or it encourages you to transform your pain into a product that you can perhaps market and sell. Please share how this resonates. For more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com and take advantage of my year ahead special. Until the end of January, you can save $20 on the recorded readings and $40 on the $20 on the in-person readings and $40 on the recorded readings. Information is in the description. For the lovely Virgo rising, there's a full moon in your 11th house conjunct Mars, the ruler of the 3rd and the 8th. Reflect back on July 2024. We had a new moon early in July in your 11th house, which could have introduced new partnerships into your life. Maybe you welcomed new friendships, new connections, new relationships. Maybe you started working on a new project. And with the full moon, you may see those friendships, relationships, networks reach some type of important point as you become closer with the people, as you maybe you've joined a group and now you become the secretary of the group, where you schedule meetings or deal with some type of logistical errors, just sort of leveling up within the collective that you're in. You're maybe completing a project you started working on with a friend. Maybe also experiencing a shift in priorities, because the full moon does conjoin Mars. I feel there is a sense of restlessness here and maybe a sense of irritation, maybe certain passive aggressive behavior coming from a friend or a group of friends. So there could be an opportunity with Mars ruling your 3rd house to talk about things. And it also rules your 8th house. So maybe what you're feeling irritated about is the lack of fairness. Maybe you feel like one of you is doing more work, you're doing more work than others are doing. There might also be some financial involvement with friends where somebody borrowed money and they're not paying you back. So you're having to address that. Trying to also just have difficult conversations to perhaps not cut off a friendship, especially if it's worth keeping, and instead transcend and move forward after addressing the issues. I think you're very much connecting with your needs and your emotions, and both addressing that in friendships, but also potentially thinking about your needs in terms of your creative passions, right? 11th house is the place of dreams. The full moon sextiles Uranus in the 9th. So maybe you're looking at your desire to teach, your desire to write, your desire to travel. And so you're having to have conversations around that. You're having to think about your finances more carefully and navigate a bit more complicated relational dynamics so that you have a solid crew of people that supports you and more clarity when it comes to your goals. Because Mars is retrograde at the time of this full moon, you may not have full clarity until the end of February when it goes direct, but it is still a good time to clear the air, I would say. For more guidance, check out AnastasiaDoesAstrology.com and save on my year ahead reading until the end of January. You can save $20 on the in-person consultation or $40 by picking up the recorded reading in the shop section of my website. Information is down below in the description. My beautiful Libra risings, there's a full moon in your 10th house. This is a professional shift. And it may feel a little bit confusing at the time of the full moon because the full moon conjoins Mars, currently retrograde. So you are going through this sense of reorientation and adjustment professionally. And until Mars goes direct on February 23rd, there still might be a lot of questions. But one thing is for sure, you're thinking about your career, you're thinking about your public life, your dreams, and your goals. And reflect back on July 2024 when we had a new moon in Cancer in your 10th house. What got started in your professional life? If you've tried to get a raise, the full moon could be the time you get a raise, or you get told that there are no raises available and you have to wait another year, which maybe forces you to reconsider whether this place is the right place for you. If you have started working on the project, this might be the time you complete the project. You're maybe rethinking what is important for you. Cancer is a very emotionally driven sign, and the full moon does conjoin Mars, the ruler of your second house of money and values, and your seventh house of relationships. So you're maybe wondering whether this job is supportive financially. You're maybe asking, how can you make more? How can you be more stable, right? How can you maximize your earning potential? And once again, making adjustments, but be ready that maybe there's still some ambiguity because of Mars being retrograde. And because the moon conjoins Mars in the seventh house, some of you may be questioning whether this job or this pursuit is helpful for your relationship, because maybe you have a job that takes you out a lot, you travel a lot, or you're just busy nonstop and you can't spend as much time as you want with your significant other. Or you may also be wondering whether to improve your career, you need to partner up with someone. So opportunities to partner up might also be present at this time. Conjunction to Mars does feel irritating. There might be certain drama with bosses, with authority figures, so try to maintain calm and peace. I do like that there is a sextile to Uranus in the 8th, which does offer opportunities to break through emotionally, to perhaps address your fears and your beliefs, your sort of core beliefs that are responsible for you not being happy professionally. Maybe you feel like you don't deserve to make $1 million, and so you're not making $1 million, right? So maybe the sextile to Uranus is a chance to go within and find ways to shed whatever is holding you back. Or it can also be a chance to get some kind of payment, some type of supportive financial resource, or similarly to kind of Mars ruling the 7th, a supportive professional connection that can forward your career. If you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Until the end of the month, you can save on my year ahead reading to find out what 2025 has in store for you. $20 on the in-person consultation, or $40 on the recorded reading. Pick it up in the shop section of my website. All of the information is in the description. For the beautiful Scorpio rising, there's a full moon in your 9th house. It completes the chapter started in July 2024 when we had a new moon in your 9th house. So here you're looking at changes around education. If you started studying something in July, you're maybe now completing it or finishing your semester or taking an exam, getting a license, for example. Changes around writing. There could be a completion of a writing project. There could be a chance to travel, because 9th house is the place of expanding your mind through travel and through learning as well. You're maybe dealing with some type of ideological crisis, a sense of questioning your direction personally and perhaps professionally. The full moon does conjoin Mars, your chart ruler, retrograde, and in the sign of its fall. It also rules your 6th house of work, health, and service. So there might be a need to revisit where you're going and ask yourself whether your priorities have changed, right? Maybe you've been working towards a promotion, but also trying to get pregnant, and now you get pregnant, and so do you want the promotion anymore, right? Maybe it's time to actually back up. There may be a need to rethink your beliefs around Cancerian topics, around what your femininity means, around what being a parent means, around what it means to be a child, and what is your responsibility to your parents. Important ideological shifts and questions around family, home living situation are quite possible here. You are supported by your partner and by your associates, because the full moon sextiles Uranus in the 7th house. So it feels like whatever you're going through is likely going to bring you closer to your significant other, or perhaps allow you to upgrade your business, right? For some of you, 9th house is also the place of higher learning. So the full moon in the 9th could be an opportunity to learn something about your career and maybe expand your business somehow and experience an upgrade there. Share with me if you remember what was happening in your life in July, And to learn more, book a reading at anastasiadasastrology.com. My year ahead readings are discounted until the end of January for a limited time only. You can save $20 on the in-person consultation. The coupon code is in the description, or $40 on the recorded reading in the shop. Definitely check out the description for more information. For the lovely, adventurous Sagittarius rising, there's a full moon in your 8th house, completing the chapter started in July with a new moon in Cancer in your 8th house. So here you're looking at your give and take dynamics with other people, and you're asking whether things are fair. There is a conjunction to Mars, which can suggest that things do not feel fair, that you're feeling angry about something, that you're feeling like you've been taking care of the mortgage and your partner hasn't been fast at finding a new job if they lost their job, or you feel like you've been the one doing all the cleaning, or you've been the one taking care of the child, and maybe there is a need to address some difficult matters around children, around love, around money, for example. You're maybe paying off a debt. You're maybe dealing with some type of insurance, taxes related matter where you are dealing with some debts that you haven't fully processed, right? You realize that you had recently. Be patient as you deal with other people, because it is it's a house of other people, right? It's a house of other people's money. So sometimes we expect things of others, but they don't necessarily owe them to us, right? Nobody really owes anyone anything unless like you're a parent, and then maybe you owe to your child to raise them, and not every parent believes that. But it's a very complicated question is all I'm saying when it comes to I give you this, you give me that. And sometimes it's hard to have those conversations. So the full moon in the 8th is very much encouraging you to talk about the uncomfortable. It can also be the time of healing issues around money, fears, lack mentality. The conjunction to Mars, the ruler of your 5th and 12th, especially with the 12th, you're looking at your like blind spots, your psyche, your tendency to perhaps not deal with anger, your tendency to take on a little bit more than what you like realistically can handle. There is this sextile to Uranus in the 6th, which offers you a chance to problem solve and move forward if you're willing to be honest, and if you're willing to navigate things and talk about them. Please share how this resonates. Do you remember what was happening in July? And if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadasastrology.com. You can save $20 on the in-person consultation for the year ahead until the end of January, or save $40 by getting a recorded reading in the shop section of my website. Information is down below. If you are a strong and productive Capricorn rising, there's a full moon in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships, and it conjoins Mars Retrograde, the ruler of your 4th and 11th houses. So take a look back at July 2024 when we had a new moon in Cancer. And do let me know down below if you remember what was starting in your relationships and partnerships. If you began a new relationship, now might be the time when you are asking yourself whether this relationship has long-term potential, and you're acting accordingly. With the conjunction to Mars retrograde, there might be a sense of irritation, something. Either you're feeling restless for new beginnings, or you're feeling not fully happy with something. So this would be your opportunity to address things. With Mars ruling your 4th and 11th houses, maybe you're disagreeing about the future, your dreams are a little bit different, or you're disagreeing about living together or a living situation. Maybe there is some tension with you only going to stay with your partner and they're never coming to you. Or there is some type of issue involving family, where there are families too involved in your relationship. So having to address difficulties and navigate misunderstandings and having honest conversation is quite likely. The full moon conjunct Mars definitely can have this, let's just cut it, let's just move on type of energy. But I would urge you that you stay a little bit patient and maybe try to figure everything out and talk things out first, because decisions made during Mars retrograde are not always going to stick, similarly to any other retrograde. You're maybe dealing with an ex, you're maybe hearing from an ex, or 7th house could be your partnership with your nanny, your relationship with your accountant, your relationship with your lawyer. There might be some type of matters that you need to address and maybe similarly question whether there is future there. 7th house and Cancer are both make me think about parental relationships, and with Cancer also childhood and what have you inherited from your family that is maybe harder to see, right? For some people it's their lips, their eyes, their nose, but for others it's their trauma and the doubt that the mother had about the father, and the daughter inherits and carries it in her future relationships. So how can you heal yourself so that your relationships are better? And how can you be more honest in relationships and perhaps deal with conflict in patient, calm, collected way instead of brushing it off until you can no longer bear it? For more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Pick up my 2025 horoscope webinar I did with Rox to get a detailed horoscope for you to know what's coming up in 2025. You can also take advantage of my year ahead reading and save $20 only until the end of January. Save $20 on the in-person consultation and $40 by picking up a recorded reading in the shop section of my website. For the quirky Aquarius rising, there's a full moon in your 6th house and it conjoins Mars, the ruler of your 3rd and 10th houses. So you're looking at your career and reflect back on July 2024 to see what kind of new beginnings were starting in terms of your health, in terms of your professional life, maybe your diet, your exercise routines. The full moon in the 6th could be the time that you're committing to your exercise goals and you're seeing success and you're feeling productive, right? It could also be the time when you're realizing that something needs to change around your health, that maybe you've been a little bit mellow and you haven't focused too much on your health and you need to get back to it. It can also feel like something is not quite working in your professional life. There may be some conflicts with colleagues, some difficult conversations that you need to have, a need to rethink your schedule and make adjustments because there is a conjunction to Mars. And Mars retrograde in the 6th house already suggests that you're going through some type of adjustment and clarifying your professional goals. And the fact that Mars rules your 3rd house of communication and 10th house of career status and reputation, I think you're wondering whether your job is emotionally fulfilling, whether you are recognized and whether you're nurtured professionally. And if you don't quite feel it, there might be an opportunity to shift. I like the sextile to Uranus in the 4th house because it does either suggest that your home life is being a source of support, you're happy to come home at the end of the day, you're feeling nurtured by your cat or your family members. Maybe the changes that you're making to your career allow you to spend more time at home or allow you to get a bigger house or allow you to work from home. So there might be opportunities to make changes for the better here. For more guidance, check out anastasiadoesastrology.com, and until the end of January, pick up my discounted year ahead reading, save $20 on the in-person consultation or $40 on the recorded option in the shop. You can also get a copy of the webinar I did with Rox, giving each sign 15 to 20 minutes, breaking down the year to come and giving you important and helpful tips. All of that is on my website. For the lovely spiritual Pisces risings, the full moon is activating your 5th house, bringing attention to matters around love, pleasure, parenthood, and children. And reflect back on July 2024. What was happening in your life? What was happening in the life of your child? Because the full moon in the 5th could be about something changing in your child's life. They they switch schools, right? Or they start puberty or something else that is transforming in the life of your child, and maybe it's affecting your relationship with them. For some of you, you're maybe getting pregnant or you're giving birth, and so you're becoming a parent, and that is a major shift in your child's life, right? They weren't born and now they are. There may be a need to address some frustrations in your romantic relationship, maybe even talk about children and figure out whether you are on the same page when it comes to that. The full moon conjoins Mars in the 5th, and Mars is retrograde, so maybe there are old fights that are coming back around that you need to revisit. Maybe there are exes that are knocking on your door. Maybe you're becoming aware of where you're overindulging, kind of becoming more clear on how you do pleasure. Where are you having too much versus where you're not having enough? And so with the full moon connecting to your heart and letting yourself enjoy life a little bit more, right, could be quite important here. The full moon conjoins Mars, which, like I said, could suggest some like conflicts and maybe old fights or an ex annoying you that you need to deal with. But Mars also rules the 2nd house of money and values and the 9th house of education, travel, writing, and publishing. So I can see this as changing priorities. I can see this as a need to manage money better, because maybe you haven't been having pleasure or you haven't been traveling as much because finances need to be addressed. It can also be the time when you're completing some kind of creative project or coming back from a trip or planning a trip. But the big question is like, what brings you joy and how can you express your creative talents better? There is a sextile to Uranus in the 3rd house, which also suggests a need to express your skills and maybe share your wisdom, share your knowledge with people around you. And definitely children and love, all of those. Please share how this resonates. For more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Rox and I did a webinar dedicated to 2025. You can get your copy on my website and get a reading that feels like it was personally made for you to help you prepare for the years to come. Or you can also get a discounted year ahead reading only until the end of January. Information is in the description. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a beautiful, soulful, and emotionally aware full moon in Cancer. Avoid drama, and if there is any drama, stay patient and lead by example. Lead by your peaceful example. So thank you for being here with me. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.